Hello everybody and welcome back to Herbies Garage. Today I'm on my 2022 Venom Ghost Chopper 250 and I was going to do a review on my mirrors. I recently did a video of installing some mirrors that were sent to me and I wanted to compare those to the bar end mirrors I had on it, and I wanted to see how the new mirrors do riding. But you guys are going to have to wait for that because, well, I got a flat tire. I don't get something in my tires very often, but as you can see, I've got a screw. And because of that, I could plug the tire. I don't mind plugging a rear tire. I won't plug a front tire except in emergencies to get home. But anyway, I really wanted to change these tires to more of a street tire anyway. So I bought a brand new set of tires and I'm going to be putting those on, and I want to bring you guys along. And I have to remove the rear and the front, and I don't want to bore you guys with the removal. So when we come back, tires will be off and we'll be ready to start the video right about now. Okay, just like that, the tires are off. And it's time to get started. And there's the old tires and here's the new tires. I'm going to show you what I bought. I bought the Kenda tires. The front's a 100/90/16 and the rear is a 130/90/15. And these are regular street tires, so I think these are going to be a little bit better on this chopper on the street. So anyway, I bought these from Chaparral Motorsports. They had a good price on them, but what I really like, and one thing I really like about them, is the date stamp on it. The 37th week of 2023 on the front tire, and the 34th week of 2023 on the rear tire. So these tires are less than 6 months old. So I give a thumbs up to Chaparral Motorsports for sending me some nice new tires, and I'm thankful for that. I'm glad I didn't get some old stock or something like that. So let's put these tires on those rims and let's see how it goes. Okay, first thing you need to do is take off any stick-on wheel weights, which I already took mine off, because when we go to balance this, we don't want it to be thrown off by a previous balance. Now this one here should still have plenty of air in it. So we'll take the valve core out of it. Hopefully you have a valve core removal tool. I'll show you the one that I've got here in a minute. That's the one I've got. Takes the valve core out, as you can see. Quick, simple, easy. Okay, now what you have to do is you have to break the bead. What I like to do is I made my own C-clamps. I mean, you could do this by hand if you want to, but I just took the handle out of it and welded a nut on it. And of course it did like almost all these cheap ones do, is it bent the screw on it. It does that all the time. And we're going to break the bead with these. And see, I just use a C-clamp that I had kind of made for myself, and I squeeze it down on there and pop that bead off, and then I'll just work it around all the way off like that, and I'll flip it over. There we go. Okay, now I've got the bead broke. I just used Windex, sprayed it around the edge, and then used my C-clamp, squeeze the tire together, and then pop it off with this on both sides. Make sure both sides are off. And then it's going to be time to start taking the tire off. I usually use probably about 3 of these. That's usually about all I need. Don't be intimidated by taking tires off. They're not that hard. First time you do it, it's kind of a pain, and it'll get easier. So you just kneel on one side of the tire to get it pushed down towards the middle of the tire, and then you start peeling it off. It's kind of nice if you have multiple spoons, because it makes this job a lot easier. If you've only got 1 or 2 spoons, you may have to fight it by pulling them out all the time and stuff like that. But the more spoons you got, the easier it's going to be. And once you get it popped loose, you can just pull it the rest of the way. Like that. Once you have one side off, then we'll just spray the wheel. Make it good and slippery. And you lift it up. And once you get it started, a lot of times you could just force the wheel out of it and it'll come. If it won't, just take a hammer, hit it a little bit, and keep pulling. Keep pulling and keep hitting. Once you get it started, it should come all the way out. No big deal. There we go. One tire and wheel separation. Okay. I will view this and make sure this is still good shape. Looks good. Let's see if we can see that screw. See the screw? It's all the way into the tire. Okay, let's wipe this wheel down real good. Get it nice and clean. Wheel's kind of dirty. All right, let's get this tire ready to put on. Pull out the cardboard and stuff that's on it. Try not to cut your tire when you do this. That wouldn't be good. And there's the sticker. Okay, now we're ready to put the new tire on. First thing you have to do is you have to find the rotation on the tire. And this one says rotation is that direction. So we got to figure out which way this is going in. So if it's going that direction and I put it in this way, that means it's going to be going this direction, so that is correct. So I want the sprocket on the other side and I want the rotor on this side in order for it to be going the right direction. So I'm going to flip this over. I'll be flipping this over. Now I'm just going to take some Dawn dishwashing liquid. I'm just going to make a nice little liberal coat on my tire. I like the Dawn. It does a couple of things. One is it's nice and slick when you go to put it on. The other is that once it dries, it's kind of sticky. It helps the tire from losing its seal. So we got this lubed up. We got the tire lubed up. It should just slip right on this side. There we go. It was just being a little stubborn at first. It usually just slips right on that first bead. The second bead is the one you have to fight with just a little bit. Okay, now we want to make sure that we get the dot lined up with the valve stem. This is the lightest part of the tire. This is going to be the heaviest part of the tire of the rim. So we want the lightest part of the tire with the heaviest part of the rim, so it kind of balance itself out. And then we want to coat this side with some Dawn. Be sure to get the inside of the bead too, because that's where it's going to have to slip over. Clean your hands off so they won't be slipping so much. Alright, I'm going to check our dot. Our dot's still lined up, so we'll push this end down and put our knees on it. Like that. Get it started. These tires are kind of stiff, and that's okay. I want to get a little bit of head start with these. And you want to get you some of these rim protectors too. I mean, it does help. I've got several of these. Most of them are kind of wore out. Then you just take your spoon and start working it down. And you got to keep pushing down here at the bottom so it'll stay in the center of the tire. My thing dropped down, so I'm going to pull it out. Okay. Pop it on like that, no big deal. Now, the tire is mounted, but you can still spin the wheel if your dot isn't lined up. See, mine isn't perfectly lined up, so I want to push that to the center, and then I can turn this to where I can line it up directly in line with that dot. Okay. Now, what we want to do is air this up. Now we need to take our core, put it back in. Now remember, when you go tighten these things, this is a little flimsy kind of core, and it's rubber sealed, so don't go nuts trying to get that thing tight. Just good and snug like that, so that's all you need. And you have to have that core in there, otherwise it won't depress this to shoot the air in there. And a lot of times these tires are so tight on the rim, they'll just seat right on there. You hear it pop on. Okay, now don't get your fingers anywhere near the edge. Pick your tire up and you look at it. Make sure it's popped in all the way around, which mine's popped all the way around on both sides. So that tire is properly mounted. The dot's lined up with the valve core, and it's properly seated. Let's check the rotation just to be sure. With this on here, the rotation should be this direction, and it is. The arrow's pointing this way because it's going to be on the bike like this, and we want it to go counterclockwise as it's rolling forward. So that's on correctly. Now all we have left to do is to check the pressure. Okay, now we'll check the tire pressure, see what we got. Showing 22.5, so I need to put a little more in there. Normally what I like to do is I like to raise this above the rating that I want the PSI to be, and then let a little bit out to make sure that the bead is seated. 30.5. So I'll let a little bit out. I want about 28. .28 exactly, so I'm good. Okay, the rear wheel is done and mounted. Now we'll do the front. Okay, it's going to be the same process on the front. You have to remove the core. As you can hear the difference in this one, it was a lot more air in this one. The other one was about flat. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this bead. As you can see, I've got the bead broke loose on the back side here. Front side, not so much. So sometimes you got to be a little creative. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a piece of wood across the wheel. I'm going to press against the wheel. At the same time, I'm pushing this tire in. As you can see, it's starting to push it off. And see how the wood's holding it on that side? That way it'll give me something to push against. And then once I get it started, it should come off fairly easily. Like that. Okay. So we're done with the C-clamps. As we got the bead broke on both tires. Actually, that's probably the hardest part of the whole process. And it's not really hard to do, but that's probably the hardest part of the whole thing. Okay. Alright, so now we'll take this tire off. I like taking them off. Ooh, that one there's about shot. It's split. I have to get another one. This one's getting bad. I'm going to have to get some more of these, I guess. These are getting old. I've done so many tires that I've got the things plumb wore out. But I've got a few of them, so should be okay. Alright. So now, as you can see, I've got several spoons. I like these the best because the handles are more comfortable. Put your knees on the tire, and then we'll start popping the tire off. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to take a little Windex, slicking this up best we can. I'm going to try to get over that. Try to get over that rim protector. And get it started. And normally if you get it started like that, you can just hold it with one and beat it off with the other. Like that. Pull the wheel off. There we go. Out with the old. I like a new set of shoes on it. New set of tires, you know what I mean? Always makes you feel more confident in a bike. Especially on rainy days. So now we gotta cut this stuff off. Prepare this for the installation as well. Okay, now we're ready to install the new tire. Now this goes on the bike like this. We want the direction going that way. So it goes on like this. And the arrow is going that way. That's correct. So we want to put it on just like this. So we'll lubricate our tire up with the Dawn. Especially this inside bead. We'll get inside there too. Want to do both while you got it out. There we go. And that goes on like that. Clean my hands off. Alright, so now we'll slip the tire on. Like that. Okay. Now that we got the tire on one side, we'll check it and we'll see where the dot is. And the dot is right there. We'll get it close to lined up. Alright. So first thing we need to do is we'll just gently put that down like that. Put our knees on it. And then we'll put a few of these on there. We could always move these around once we get them in there, so we'll just put a few of them in there. You want to make sure and count how many you put in here, as you don't want to take out less than what you put in. I've done that before and realized I still had one of these rim protectors inside the tire, and that wasn't good. And take the tire back off. Let me put a little bit more Dawn to make this nice and slick. Okay. So, we'll start it right there. And over here. And then we'll move these down a little bit. Well, let's pop that on a little more. Pop this one on just a little more. Okay. Now we'll move this down just a little bit. remove this one too. Okay. I'll pop it on. Like that. Take small bites too. You don't want to take too big of bites with it. And if you're working this tire around and one bead comes off while you're putting the other one on, you could get one of these bead buddies and it just slips down in there like that, and it just kind of holds it from peeling off. So you could just work one side a lot easier. Makes it a lot simpler. There we go. Not a problem. See, it does scratch the rim just a little bit, that bead buddy did, but I'll go through and I'll touch up any nicks or anything in the paint. You'll never even know. Alright, so once you get the tire on, make sure it's not seated yet. Make sure it's loose in there so you can turn the rim. And you look for your valve core, make sure it's lined up. Mine's lined up, so I don't need to turn it, so we're good. Alright. So let's put the core in it. Like that. Okay, and before we air it up, let's make sure that our arrow is going the right way. Okay, this is going on a bike like this. The arrow should be going this direction, and it is. So we've got it on there correct. So let's air it up. Alright, looks like it's all the way seated, front and back. Okay, let's check the air in it, see how much is in it. Like I say, I want 26 in the front. And I'm at 36, which is okay. Sometimes you have to air it up a little extra. That's what I like to do, to make sure it's seated on there. Well, I don't like this digital gauge. It doesn't read very well. .5. I need to let a little bit out. Let that clear out to 0. Okay. 26 exactly. So I'm good. Alright. 2 brand new tires ready to go. Alright, that tire's mounted. The dots lined up, so now all we got to do is balance them out. Okay, I got my new tires mounted. Boy, they sure do look good. And the rubber on them feels like it's going to be good on traction, I'm thinking. and I think it's going to have less rolling resistance. These are made more for the street than the tires that I took off. So I think these are going to work really, really well. I don't know a lot about the Kenda brand, but I've read some good reviews on it. All I've got left to do is to balance it, and you'd see me balance it at home. This video is already taken a while to do, and I have to edit it all the way down. I don't want to bore you guys with long videos, so if you want to see a balance at home video, I did one on the Gold Wing, I did one on my KPR 200, and you could see those videos and how I balance at home. It's not a hard thing to do. It's boring for me to do it over again. I hope you enjoyed me putting these tires on. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you have some advice for me. Nobody knows everything. Everybody knows something. That's what I've always been taught. So that's a good way to look at stuff. Anyway, I appreciate you guys coming along with me and getting my new tires put on. And probably tomorrow I'm going to be taking a ride, and we're going to be checking out the mirrors and see how those mirrors do. So be looking for that video as well. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.